If I told you that your name, your very soul, was just written into $1 million legal document by someone you never expected, would you believe me? Because this moment is not random. This message found you for a reason. If you are here, it means the universe has carefully led you into alignment with a hidden truth that is about to rise. Today's video is not simply information. It's a divine transmission, a wake-up call from both spirit and paper. And if you stay with me, you will begin to understand why this message has your name all over it. Welcome to Cosmic Treasure. Here, we don't just read horoscopes, we reveal sacred timing. We don't just interpret tarot cards, we translate divine blueprints. This isn't a forecast, it's a frequency, a spiritual appointment sealed long before you ever pressed play. And today, Sagittarius, that appointment has arrived. A stranger, or perhaps a quiet soul from your past. Maybe even someone you met briefly on your travels or in a moment of learning has made a decision that will ripple into your world. They have left behind something real, tangible, and powerful. Not just a gift of wealth, but a spiritual confirmation. Legal papers are being prepared, and your name is on them. A blessing is moving toward you with the silent force of divine justice. I know that sounds unbelievable. But isn't that exactly how the universe works, through the unseen, through the humble, through the mysterious? Yet, when the time is right, it brings everything to light. This is that moment. There's a gift coming that may arrive in the form of a letter, a document, a phone call, or an unexpected conversation. It carries more than just legal significance. It carries spiritual weight, because it's not just about what you're going to receive, it's about why you were chosen to receive it. If you've ever felt like your optimism was tested, your freedom restricted, or your truth unheard, please lean in. You were never invisible to the one who watches even the smallest sparrow fall. You were never overlooked by the spirit that hears every cry of your soul, especially the prayers you shot like arrows into the night sky. This is not just your time, it's your return, your reward, your revival. So, pause for a moment. Place your hand over your heart and ask yourself, why did this message find me today? Why now? And if something within you stirs, whether it's a spark of hope, a wave of emotion, or a deep knowing you can't explain, comment below to claim your alignment. Say, I receive the abundance that aligns with my truth. Or, I accept the gift I was born to carry. Your comment isn't just interaction, it's intention. It's a declaration to the universe that you are ready to receive not only abundance, but the freedom you have always sought. And before we go any further, allow me to take a moment and express my most sincere gratitude for your presence here today. Thank you, truly. Every like, every comment you leave, every time you subscribe or share, you deepen the reach of this sacred space. Your support fuels this channel, allowing me to continue bringing you messages that heal, restore, and awaken. And believe me, dear Sagittarius, you will want to stay with me until the very end of this message, because what the universe is about to unfold is nothing short of miraculous. So, let's begin. Sagittarius, when you pause to truly feel the message within this moment, you may notice something subtle but unmistakable, a pull, almost like a whisper across the fibers of your being. That's not imagination, it's memory, soul memory. You see, sometimes the most important connections in our lives aren't the loud, obvious ones, but the quiet, sacred bonds forged in moments of deep spiritual recognition. What we explore now is not fantasy, it's frequency. And you, dear Archer, have just stepped into alignment with something ancient and true. You were chosen. The person who made this decision, who wrote your name in a legal document perhaps years ago or perhaps only recently, may not be someone you remember vividly. They may not have walked beside you in your daily life, but in the hidden rooms of their heart, they admired your light. Whether it was a moment where you spoke your truth, a time you shared your wisdom, or simply your infectious optimism that pulled them out of the dark, they felt you, not just as a name or a face, but as a presence that mattered. And in their most vulnerable moment, they made a decision that would reach across space and time to land in your hands today. They chose to leave you something, not because they had to, but because your spirit touched them, even if you were unaware. This kind of moment is what we, in the language of tarot and astrology, recognize as a soul echo, an energetic imprint that outlasts the physical. When the cards Justice, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Ten of Pentacles show up together, they are not simply a coincidence. These are chords struck deep in the symphony of your life. Justice tells us this is not random. It is divinely aligned. There is a document coming, a legal recognition of your value, a contract, a letter, a statement, even a final will. And yes, it is real, but its power is not in the paper. It's in what it represents: restoration, balance, and honor. The world is acknowledging what Spirit has always known: you are worthy. The Wheel of Fortune, which is your ruling card governed by Jupiter, is spinning now in your favor. It is the ultimate sign that the tides have turned. For some of you, this could be the first time in a long while that luck turns in your direction without effort, without struggle. It's a reminder that divine timing works silently, but unfailingly. And when the wheel turns, it's not just a single event, it's a cascade. One shift triggers another. An unseen hand rearranges the circumstances of your life so that what was once out of reach suddenly arrives gently, purposefully, as if it was always meant for you. And then there's the Ten of Pentacles, perhaps the most powerful card of generational stability, legacy, and grounded blessings. This isn't just about receiving, it's about expansion. You are not merely the recipient of something valuable. You are being invited to become a steward of it, to use it to broaden your horizons and the horizons of others. The Ten of Pentacles doesn't fall into the hands of someone unready. It appears when the soul has matured into the version of itself that can handle not just abundance, but the responsibility of freedom. A foundation is being placed in your hands that was first dreamt of by someone else, someone who couldn't carry it forward but believed you could. When we talk about divine inheritance, we are not only speaking of material wealth, we are also referring to the emotional, spiritual, and energetic blessings that are passed on, often in silence, from one soul to another. It echoes the quiet promise of faith that even when we do not see, we trust. Just as God often moves in hidden ways, so too does healing and redemption. Sometimes the answer to your deepest prayers doesn't come through a miracle of thunder and light. It comes in an envelope, a signature, a name written on a page. So now I ask you, Sagittarius, can you allow yourself to receive this? Not just the gift, but the acknowledgement. Can you hold space for the idea that you have been seen, remembered, and chosen, because that is the truth rising now. Let it settle into your bones. Let it anchor in your breath. And if something inside you stirs as you hear this, don't brush it away. Write it down, speak it aloud, or type it below to claim your alignment. I receive what was always mine. I accept the gift I was born to carry. Because when you do, you're not just responding to a message, you're answering a call. Legacy in its truest form isn't measured in currency, land deeds, or possessions. Legacy is vibration. It's the unseen imprint left behind by one life so that another may grow stronger in its wake. It's the wisdom that survives loss, the compassion that outlives conflict, and the grace that is passed down not through words, but through silent acts of faith. When someone chooses you, not out of duty, not by default, but because they saw something enduring in you, they are entrusting you with more than wealth. They are entrusting you with their vision. You see, when the human experience meets spiritual depth, a different kind of inheritance is formed. It's what I call the legacy of truth. This happens when a person nearing the closing chapters of their own life senses that there's still something unfinished, something sacred that deserves to live on. And sometimes, in their final acts, they reach back to give forward not because they need to be remembered, but because they want someone else to be free. They choose not only who will receive, but who will explore. And Sagittarius, that someone is you. What makes this moment so profound is the energy that surrounds it. In astrology, Sagittarius is the seeker, the philosopher, the sign of higher learning and vast horizons. You are not a sign that seeks to control. You seek to understand. You move through the world with a fire that warms and illuminates. You were chosen to carry this because while others might hoard it or stagnate, you will expand it. You will use it to seek greater truths. This inheritance, this sacred offering, is a mirror. It reflects the version of you who has kept aiming your arrow at the stars, even when your feet were stuck in the mud. It recognizes the times you stayed optimistic in the face of despair, or generous in the presence of scarcity. You weren't chosen because you were perfect. You were chosen because you remained authentic. And now, what you've quietly sown is coming back, not just to repay, but to uplift, to realign you with the truth of who you've always been. This is the kind of moment where healing doesn't just happen on an individual level. It ripples. It moves backward into ancestral lines and forward into future ones. And you, Sagittarius, you are the bridge between the known and the unknown. You were selected not only to receive the gift, but to transform it, to turn resources into experiences, to convert weight into wisdom, to make space within yourself for what another soul could not complete in their lifetime. There's an art to receiving something that wasn't asked for but feels deeply known. It can stir confusion or even guilt. But I want to gently remind you, worthiness is not something you earn. It's something you remember. The gift is coming not because you needed it, but because you were ready to hold it. And when we talk about holding, we don't just mean physically. We mean spiritually, emotionally, energetically. This is why moments like these feel so heavy, yet so clear. Because you are not just receiving a gift. You are being initiated into a deeper chapter of your life. One where your voice is no longer silenced. One where your journey becomes part of someone else's healing, too. And in the language of healing, this is what we call a soul contract, fulfilled not in theory, but in action. So as you stand at the threshold of this unfolding, ask yourself, how will you carry it forward? How will you honor the one who trusted you to do so? You don't need all the answers right now. All you need is presence, trust, and the quiet courage to say yes to something bigger than yourself. The legacy of healing begins here, with your willingness to receive what was always meant for you, and to become the vessel through which it lives on. If you've ever found yourself standing quietly at the edge of the world, watching others thrive while you wrestled with invisible constraints, then you'll understand the significance of what's unfolding now. This is not just about a gift or a legal document or a sudden turn of fortune. This is about validation, not from people, not from systems, but from life itself. There is a moment in every journey when what was once silent begins to speak, and what was once hidden starts to make its way to the surface. That moment is now. So many of us walk through this life quietly, bearing more than we reveal. We carry responsibilities that were never ours, expectations that were never voiced. But you, Sagittarius, you have carried the torch of hope. You have offered humor, perspective, and light, even when your own world felt dim. But what happens when it feels like no one notices? What happens when we wonder if all that inner fire is going to waste? The answer is this: nothing given in love is ever wasted. And what you're receiving now is proof of that. The energetic weight behind this kind of inheritance, the surprise recognition of your name, your worth, your contribution is profound. It speaks to something deeper than law. It speaks to alignment. It reveals that the universe, in its quiet orchestration, has always been watching not in judgment, but in witness, and in divine timing, it responds. You may not have known how deeply your presence impacted someone. You may never have heard the words they wanted to say, but their final act, etched in signature and sealed with intention, says it all. You inspired me. You gave me a broader view. You helped me believe again. And while those words may never be spoken aloud, their energy lives on in the blessing now making its way to you. This is where faith takes on a different meaning, not as blind belief, but as quiet trust. The kind that whispers, even when you can't see the outcome. Something good is coming. Even when you don't feel seen, your efforts are echoing in unseen places. In self-help and energy work, we call this cause and resonance. In astrology, it's the blessings of Jupiter returning after a long cycle. In the law of attraction, it's called vibrational matching. What you become is what you attract. But whatever language you choose, the truth remains the same. You are being recognized, and not for the loudest part of you, but for the most consistent part, that part of you that kept seeking, that stayed open in a closed-off world, that stayed honest even when no one was looking. And that part of you is rare. Now comes the invitation not just to receive, but to believe. To believe that you're not behind, that you're not forgotten, that the timeline of your life is not broken, only divine. The abundance heading your way is not a correction, it's a confirmation. It's the universe saying, you were never alone in this. So the next time the voice of doubt creeps in, the next time you feel isolated in your journey, I want you to remember this. What's coming to you is not accidental. It is sacred recognition. It is the turning of the page in your story where the quiet chapters begin to bloom. And if you've ever wondered whether your faith, your kindness, your resilience made a difference, this is the moment that answers yes. Resoundingly, beautifully, undeniably. Yes, everything in the energetic world vibrates. Every color, every number, every planetary motion speaks its own silent language. And when we take the time to listen, to feel, we discover that we are not navigating life alone. We are being guided. Sagittarius, as a soul governed by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, luck, and higher wisdom. You are never meant to walk a narrow path. You are wired for growth, for discovery, for the kind of change that doesn't just move things around but blows the doors wide open. And right now, in the heart of your current cycle, you are standing in a vortex of energetic recalibration. The symbols rising in your path now are not coincidental. They're directional. They're the universe's way of saying, pay attention. Your next breakthrough is speaking in frequency, not form. In numerology, the number 9 is a divine message of completion, wisdom, and humanitarianism. It marks the closing of one soul chapter and the opening of another, not with chaos, but with higher understanding. In the tarot, the 10 of Pentacles echoes this vibration through the lens of grounded abundance, family legacy, and long-term security. But more than that, it's about stability that creates freedom. When this number appears, it is Spirit's whisper that the reward has matured, that you have learned the lessons of the journey. Layered underneath, the energy of the Knight of Wands or the Chariot often accompanies you, energies of movement and action. But here, the message is about directed will. In this reading, it suggests that what's coming to you requires you to be ready to move, to accept the adventure. It may not announce itself with a bang, but with a notification, a foreign stamp, a call from a distance. And your work, Sagittarius, is not to rush blindly, but to aim true. Use your sharp, intuitive mind and ask, is this the horizon I've been preparing for? And then there is the color language, a vibrational field of its own. Royal purple and deep blue carry the energy of the third eye and crown chakras, connecting you to divine wisdom and nobility of spirit. They invite you to trust your vision and step into your sovereignty. Wearing these colors, especially on Thursdays, Jupiter's day, can support breakthroughs that feel both expansive and lucky. Gold, radiant and sovereign, is not just a symbol of wealth. It's a frequency of recognition, of divine clarity, of personal power in its purest form. When you wear golden tones, you invite not only prosperity, but the precision to manage it. Each of these elements, the number 9, royal purple, gold, Thursday, are not just spiritual trivia. They are navigational tools. They ask for your presence, your awareness, your willingness to walk your path with both openness and trust. Energy doesn't scream, it hums. And the hum around you now is saying that a turning point is near, one that could shift your financial life and your internal sense of freedom. If you allow yourself to be guided not by logic, but by alignment, let this be an invitation to walk with purpose. Observe the signs. Wear colors that aren't just beautiful, but meaningful. Journal the coincidences. Attune your body and spirit to the quiet cues that speak louder than noise. Because when a Sagittarius listens, not just hears, but truly listens, you don't just find the path, you blaze the path. And everything that was once hidden starts making its way to the light. When you sense something powerful drawing near, the instinct to resist or doubt can feel stronger than the call itself, especially for those like you, Sagittarius, who value independence so highly. Receiving help or inheritance can feel strange. You are used to making your own way. But now, something different is unfolding. You are being asked not to run, but to receive. Over the next 3 to 6 weeks, the form of this arrival may be unexpectedly ordinary: a stamped letter, an email with legal language, a voicemail from someone representing a name you barely remember. But do not let the simplicity of the messenger distract you from the magnitude of the message. What's coming carries the energy of cycles completing, promises rising, and blessings that have been traveling toward you for far longer than you've known. The first wave of response might be skepticism. Is this real? Is there a catch? That is your sharp mind working. But this is why mindfulness is key now. This is why you must meet what comes not with haste, but with presence. Instead of speaking too soon or sharing the news with everyone, choose stillness. Protect the seed before it sprouts, not because you are hiding, but because you are honoring the sacredness of what is being revealed. In self-healing work, there is a practice we teach receiving in silence. It is the art of letting something find its place in your body and energy field before announcing it to the world. That practice will serve you now. Take time to sit with the news. Pray or meditate. If that aligns with your path, ask for clarity. Journal. Use this period not to act outwardly, but to expand inwardly. Let your energy adjust to what is arriving so that when the time to respond comes, you are grounded, not rattled. If you're someone who feels energetically sensitive, consider using energetic tools to support yourself during this time. Lapis lazuli is powerful for Sagittarius, enhancing your truth and wisdom while protecting your energy. Citrine can hold your field in joy, confidence, and the frequency of abundance. And if crystals aren't your thing, even simple acts like standing under the open sky or lighting a purple candle to symbolize wisdom can anchor you. The point is, your job now is not to defend what's coming, it is to nurture it. And if opposition arises, whether it's subtle envy, misinformed questions, or outright disbelief, remember this: no one can remove what was written in the rhythm of divine law. No shadow can erase what was crafted in light. No voice of doubt can override the decision that named you in trust, in blessing, in legacy. This is not a moment for pride, nor for secrecy. It's a moment for stewardship. You are being entrusted with something that holds weight in both the visible and invisible realms. You do not need to prove your worthiness. You do not need to justify your place. You only need to remain awake, willing, and rooted. Let this be your spiritual reminder. What is written for you does not need to be chased, but once it arrives, it must be honored. You've waited long enough. You've earned your wisdom. Now it's time to receive what was always yours and walk forward not loudly, but fully. You see, you were never just meant to receive a gift. You were always meant to carry something forward, to honor not only what was left to you, but to become a sacred turning point in the legacy that led to this moment. What you've been given is more than a possession. It's a message in disguise. It's a confirmation that your existence, your philosophy, your fiery resilience were never wasted. This isn't just inheritance. This is restoration. You are not here to prove you're worthy. You are here to live like you already know you are. Because the truth is, this story, this sacred unfolding, is not about the one who left the gift. It's about the one who receives it and chooses to do something beautiful with it. You are that person. And now, you are standing at a threshold between what was once hidden and what is now possible. So let me ask you gently, what will you do with what has come to you? Will you use it to finally find that sense of home you've been searching for? Will you use it to explore the world and gain the wisdom you crave? Will you take one step forward on the dream you've delayed for years because you felt you lacked the resources? Will you offer it in part to those who once stood beside you? There is no right answer, only this truth. When you receive a gift wrapped in divine timing, you are also being entrusted with its future, not as a burden, but as a blessing. You don't need to announce it to those who won't understand. You don't need to fight for your place in anyone's version of the truth. What has been signed in both spirit and matter belongs to you. And the most powerful way to protect it is not through secrecy, but through peace. Guard it with calm. Live into it with purpose. Let it take root in your life slowly, deeply, intentionally. And if something moved inside you during this journey, if you felt a shift, a recognition, a quiet knowing, you are invited now to speak it aloud in your own way. Leave a comment below and affirm your alignment with what's unfolding. I am ready to receive the cosmic treasure meant for me. I protect what is mine with peace and wisdom. I trust the divine timing of my life, and I am ready. Your words have power. Your intention plants seeds. And here, in this sacred space, we're building together at Cosmic Treasure. Every single seed matters. Every story, every heart, every voice carries light. Thank you for staying until the end of this message. It means more than you know. With every like, every share, every subscription, you help bring these messages of healing and divine direction to more souls who are still searching for a sign. And if this message found you, there's a good chance it's meant to find someone close to you too. Let it travel. Until we meet again in the next message, stay open, stay anchored, stay ready. The light is still with you, always.